Shalom, and welcome to Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. Today we're looking at Leviticus chapter 27. It's the last chapter of this book. There are 34 verses, beginning in V2. I'm going to refer to verses as V from now on. V2, whosoever, is gender neutral, since verse 4 of V4 speaks of a female, and a man cannot be a female. So in the Masoretic, it says a man. So this is gender neutral in the Septuagint. It does not discriminate between male and female. Okay, and the valuation of his soul versus the person's estimation. That's a continuous difference, significant difference too. Verse 5, the drachms versus shekels, continuous difference. V8, big difference here in V8. It says, according to what the poor man can afford in the sept versus his ability. Verse 10, alterate was added, and substitute versus exchange. It's more clear in the Septuagint that the replacement versus the act, that it is a replacement versus simply the act of substituting. Okay. V12, continuous difference. It says make evaluation between versus whether. So accordingly, as the priest shall value it versus as you value it. So the priest, the Masoretic suggests it could be both the person offering it to the priest and the priest himself making a valuation. However, in the sept, it is clear it is the priest doing the valuation. Verse 13, the worshiper versus he. So that could be the priest, but in the sept, it's clear it is the worshiper. V14, see V12. V18, we have a similar meaning. Deducted and equivalent versus abated. So it's a decrease, like a tax. That's what abated means. So it is similar. V19, a big difference here. It shall be his. It is a fact. It is a reality. That's what that means. Versus it shall be assured to him. So it's guaranteed, but guarantees can be broken. It's not as sure. V12, big difference here. He shall not redeem it versus it shall not be redeemed anymore. So in the first instance, the former owner that sold it cannot redeem it anymore versus it cannot be redeemed by anyone anymore at all, period. So there's an exception in the sept. Okay, V23, the full valuation versus the worth of your estimation. V25, holy weights versus shekel of the sanctuary. V26, the firstborn or firstling. That's what it could mean. It says firstling. Okay, firstborn, firstling. So it's similar. Shall be yaz in the sept. On the Maz, it says which should be yaz. So the first in the sept, it is saying it is a command. Masoretic is a suggestion. That's a common difference you'll see throughout, that oftentimes what is deemed a command in the sept is not a command in the Masoretic. It's just a suggestion. You don't have to do it. You can choose. You have the option. You don't have to obey if you don't feel like it. That's that's the way a lot of the scripture is in the Masoretic. In terms of the differences here between the Septuagint, where it's hard and fast, it is a black and white commandment from the Creator of all things. of all living creatures. Verse 27, we see an omission. The unclean beast, it shall be his, was omitted. V31, another omission, and it shall be his. And 32, V32, whatsoever. Um, okay, I'm not sure what the difference is here. Let's look at this closer. Concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, of whatsoever passes under the rod, the tenth shall be set apart to Yah. Every tithe of oxen, of sheep, and whatsoever may come in numbering under the rod, the tenth shall be set apart to Yah. So you can see the difference here is whatsoever. So anything that passes under the rod. In the sept, it is whatever may come in numbering. So you're actually numbering them. So that's omitted on the numbering part. Okay, we have let me just make that edit there. Okay, whatsoever in numbering. So numbering was omitted. So it is specific in the Septuagint that you are numbering these creatures. Uh, whatever is numbered under the rod, well, the tenth. So it is specific to that process of numbering, whereas in the Masoretic, it's just okay. Whatever passes under it could be human. I don't. It doesn't really. It leaves it open to interpretation. That's dangerous. Verse 33, big difference. You shall not change a good for a bad, or a bad for a good. Uh, on the other hand, the Masoretic is saying, he shall not search whether it be good or bad. Uh, so, what this probably means in the Septuagint is whatever has been set apart and dedicated to Yah stays that way, and you cannot reverse it. You cannot take back what you've already dedicated to Him and what you've committed to giving Him. Uh, it's done. It's as good as done. You can't take it back because you had a change of heart, or maybe it's your best and you want to give second best, or maybe even if it is your second best and you know what, you made a mistake, but you already committed to it. Um, it seems a little counterproductive. I understand, just talking from reason. If I have a better offering, I don't want to upgrade it and give the better one, but it's already been dedicated. You've decided that, so you have to just go forward with it. So there might be something of a deeper level of understanding there that I'm not quite getting, but there could be a deeper lesson as well that what you've set apart, what you've decided, you have to make sure that this is what you've dedicated, and you cannot go back on it. That's a part of life, and it's a life lesson, really. In the Masoretic, um, it says, "He shall not search whether it be good or bad." So, if you do replace it, both end up dedicated. Okay. Let me see. Okay, it doesn't say that in the Septuagint. It's saying, "You shall not change good or bad, good for a bad, or a bad for a good." If you should at all change it, its equivalent also shall be holy. It shall not be redeemed. So the lesson is, okay, let's say I'm giving my second best and I didn't realize it was my second best, and I ended up giving both the best and second best. So you can't redeem either or, but you made it right by giving your best. So, for example, in the case of Cain, he didn't give his first fruits; he just gave of his offering uh, of the produce. But if he correctly decided, oh, I need to give my best because I learned my lesson last time. So he gave of, but he's also giving the first fruits. He's giving the best quality. So he made it right, but he cannot uh, also take back what he's already dedicated. So he has to offer both the the one he set apart, which is second best, or not the first fruits, not the best, including the best. So that's a lesson you learn there. You have to be careful in what you, very careful how what you're setting apart, and you're doing it meticulously. And on the other hand, the Masoretic is saying here, he shall not search whether it be good or bad, neither shall he change it. And if he change it at all, then both it and the change thereof shall be set apart. It shall not be redeemed. So it is saying that, you know what, same idea here. If you uh, if you change any of the offering, um, then you're not going to take back either of them. It's the same idea. The only difference is that you will not search whether it be good or bad, which doesn't make sense. Why would you not do your diligence and say, okay, is this my best or is this my worst? Or you're evaluating, is this the best quality? Is this fit for being offered up? But in the Septuagint, it's very common sense, it's logical. We serve a logical creator. He's saying that you will not change a good for a bad or a bad for a good. You know, you can search whether it's good or bad, but you won't have any exchanges. You don't do that. You just accept what you're giving. You have to just accept it. You have to deal with it, basically. So it's such a strange thing that it says you shall not search whether it be good or bad. Maybe this word search means something different. Maybe in our modern context, it's been somewhat modified the meaning, but I think it's pretty straightforward in my opinion. Okay, and those are all the differences we find in the book of Leviticus. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time. If you stuck with me from the beginning of the book of Leviticus or since since it started Genesis, thank you very much. It's quite a milestone when you finish a book. So we're going to move on to the book of Numbers next. Uh, may Yah bless you and make your way prosperous. Until next time, we're going to look at Numbers chapter 1. I want to be a little more efficient in terms of what I cover. I may not look at the minor differences anymore, not that I will not note them. You will be able to see them in the videos, but I will just simply not uh, I will not narrate those differences if it's not significant enough. I'll only look at the big ones, the significant differences that uh, really change the meaning and are very serious differences. But if they're smaller differences, I may simply omit them and not mention them in the video, but you will certainly see the differences there uh, on the screen so you can read them yourself if you like and look into that. So I will not omit it from your visual. You will still see everything that I compile, but you simply will not hear me say anything that is not significant, at least significant, or in in my gut telling me that it's significant. Because if it's a minor difference, I don't want to waste people's time with that, and we need to cut down in terms of the length of videos so that more people will want to watch them. I understand people's time is very valuable, so I'm not going to uh, make videos overly long, just just for no reason. Okay, so thank you very much for your time again. You've been watching Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. Shalom.